This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Hey, all you digital ghouls and goblins out there in the digital frontier, living on the cyber-physical boundary. Some call it the Figital space, that space where human condition meets technological capabilities. Welcome you digital cowboys and aliens to this Halloween week episode of Digital Cowboy Roundup, where we explore that space together. Unless you were actually captured by aliens or have been hunkering down off-grid since 2020 and just got back, you know that AI has dominated the minds and resources of company executives, business stakeholders, tech providers, and tech leaders alike. Technology is advancing at a pace that is sometimes both perplexing and fantastic. To paraphrase Ferris Bueller, if you don't stop once in a while and take a close look, you might get run over. So let's do that today. Let's pause for a moment and take a closer look at AI. Let's turn up the lights a little bit and ask, are we getting what we want and need from the current generation of AI? I posted a couple blogs about the two sides of the ROI coin related to AI. I've also worked with my AI tools to demonstrate the orientation of AI for decades and popped that into my article titled AI, yeah, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Anyways, check out the blog posts or LinkedIn articles that are included in this episode's description for links. If you've been neck deep in generative AI yourself, optimizing prompts, training LLMs, scratching your head, looking at the latest hallucinations, you might just think to yourself, yeah, this is useful, but what else is there? Well, partner, stick with me and I'll lay this all out for you. It's probably worth looking at the AI evolution so we can settle on the same context. Now, I started practical application of AI in the mid-80s. It was what considered the late stage of the second AI era. Some refer to it as the first AI winter. I kind of got into it a pretty bad time. I continued into the third era of the expert systems boom, but unfortunately there was a bust there in the early 1990s. I continued to keep my toe in the AI waters, publishing a few papers under a nom de plume, and even one under my own name. My focus for all that time was on human-machine collaboration. With all that though, let's take a walk down memory lane. As John Byrne of Talking Heads asked, how did we get here? A lot of this is documented, so you probably can find it in Wikipedia or just search on Google. I'm going to cover a little bit of it right now. So, everybody agrees that basically AI started in the 50s, particularly at 1956 Dartmouth Conference. Researchers were optimistic about creating human-level intelligence quickly. Early programs could play checkers, prove mathematical theorems, and even engage in simple conversation. AI continued through the 60s and into the early 70s, but initial optimism crashed into reality when early approaches just couldn't scale. Funding dried up as AI failed to deliver on ambitious promises. That's the problem with a lot of emerging technologies. If you can't deliver, the funding goes away. Those eddies of money just disappear. Expert systems did emerge in the late 70s and early 80s, and rule-based programs that captured human expertise. They worked in narrow domains. For a time, things looked promising and expert systems had a boom. Briefly revived commercial interest in AI, but they were brittle, expensive to maintain, and had difficulty learning. This led to another downturn in the late 80s, early 90s. Through the 90s, there was a shift from hard-coded rules to systems that could learn from data. Statistical methods, neural networks, which had existed before, but they couldn't be trained effectively. And eventually, deep learning began showing some real promise. Key milestones included IBM's Deep Blue beating Kasparov at chess, I think that was 97, and the use of practical applications in spam filtering, recommendation systems, and speech recognition. Recommendation systems, we'll get back to that in a little bit. Starting in the 2010s, we had the deep learning revolution. Around 2012, we had deep neural networks trained on large datasets with powerful GPUs that began dramatically outperforming previous approaches in image recognition, speech recognition, and translation. This era saw AI assistants like Siri and Alexa, self-driving car research, the AlphaGo defeating world champions at Go in 2016, And yes, we also saw recommendation engines and a big push towards selling stuff. And that leads us to where we are now, what we call the foundational model, the generative AI, agentic AI era. It's kind of mixing up a little bit. This is the era where we have multimodal capabilities. AI systems can now work across text, images, code, audio, video, rather than just being specialized into one domain. We have reasoning and agency. Models are now moving from pattern matching toward more complex reasoning, planning, and the ability to use tools and take actions, like web searching or writing code or suggesting which sneakers or speakers you should buy. We have scale and accessibility. Powerful AI is now available to everyday users through chat interfaces, APIs, integrated tools, rather than being confined to research labs or e-commerce websites. Rapid iteration is also something we're seeing now, where new capabilities and improved models are released every few months, maybe even every few weeks, rather than every few years. Every era has built on lessons from the previous ones, and many old ideas, like neural networks, have become viable now when combined with more data and computing power. From my opinion, though, we have forgotten some of the lessons of the past. Regardless, some people are talking about the new era, the agentic AI era, where AI systems can handle complex, multi-step tasks more autonomously. Others frame it as moving towards a more reliable, trustworthy AI that can be safely deployed in critical applications. It's worth noting that we're still in relative early days of this adjustment. While these systems are powerful, they have real limitations in reliability, reasoning, understanding context, that the researchers are actively working to address. The current generation of AI has parallels to the expert systems era in that they both have distinct, albeit different, failure modes when it comes to the human-AI collaboration. Expert systems failed because they couldn't handle anything outside the rules. Modern AI fails differently. It's confidently wrong, has inconsistent reasoning, and can't always explain itself. As well, another failure point from past generations is being faced by AI today. There's a huge gap in making AI reasoning transparent enough for meaningful collaboration. Engage with any AI like Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, and so on. Have a dialogue and try to understand the reasoning well enough to facilitate. You'll see what I mean. To me, we're still in the foundational era because we're still using the same foundational components, just augmenting. RAG is a perfect example. Building a workflow with LangChain, these are not step changes, they're optimizations. Tangential adjustments at best. And that's to be expected. We are caught in an eddy of funding that is circumventing a legitimate transformation, and that's my point. If commerce is providing the energy to keep the engine going, who, if anyone, is steering? All the major players in artificial general AI, or AGI, have pretty much the same mission, if not identical, focusing on the benefits for humanity. In fact, Anthropic was started by defectors from OpenAI who felt that OpenAI was starting to lose its mission, only to suffer the same sort of pains at Anthropic. The rush to be first is driving pretty much all of the technology providers around AGI. So there's reason to be curious and critical of the movements that these companies are making. What about the nonprofits? Well, you look at their mission statements and their things that they're doing, they all sound very positive and intriguing. But remember, OpenAI started as a nonprofit as well. It seems that the closer the moths get to the flame, the more likely are they get burnt. There are just several challenges that are very difficult to overcome. The funding challenge. Most cutting-edge AI research requires enormous resources, creating dependence on big tech providers or governments with their own agendas. And of course, we've got the deploy fast race. Companies feel pressure to release products so quickly to compete. Sometimes it's at odds with the careful safety work. And let's not forget the issues that the technology itself presents. DeepMind's CEO recently said that he was concerned about the fact that the technology can trick and manipulate its own evaluators. There's a real concern that AI development is being driven primarily by what's profitable rather than what's most beneficial for humanity. The organizations I mentioned earlier are trying to shift this, but they're swimming against a riptide that has strong commercial currents. The most promising approach seems to be ensuring that diverse voices, ethicists, social scientists, representatives from affected communities, not just engineers and executives, are involved in shaping AI development. that's still very much a work in progress. So, what role should pivotal tech leaders play going forward? It's become pretty evident, perhaps painfully obvious even, that AI needs a shepherd. 70 years is a long time for a technology to keep missing the strike zone. Just like the baseball catcher helping a pitcher frame the next pitch, tech leaders need to be able to help AI frame where it's going. And not just as engineers, as I mentioned before, but we need to work with allies and partners and even tangential thought leaders, visionaries, and others to shepherd in the era of a true human-AI collaboration. As is the case with every emerging and maturing technology, it's pivotal tech leaders who can be the shepherds. Pivotal tech leaders have the unique vantage point, having cultivated the right mindset, developed foundational behaviors, and mastered leveled up skills beyond technical prowess. There is every reason to believe that significant advancements in the AGI will happen in the next 5 years. Maybe not as much as some think, or maybe more than I believe. Either way, tech providers, investors, insiders, they're wolves in sheep's clothing. We need real shepherds, and my money is on pivotal tech leaders. OpenAI's recent restructuring into a separate non-profit and profit companies might be a cautionary tale told too late, or it might be just what we need. My concern is that the pivot from a wholly focused mission on AI for humanity to this mixed for profit model tells me it's the former, not the latter. With Microsoft taking a $5 billion larger stake in the for-profit OpenAI PBC than the non-profit OpenAI Foundation is taking, it seems to be the writing is already on the wall. We just need to read it and have pivotal tech leaders who can ally with others who are like-minded. Hey, you've hung in with me on this one. I guess I'm not too bad, eh? Oops, I let out a bit of my Canadian cowboy out there. Yep, I've roamed the digital frontier from the Great White North to the deep in the heart of Texas, from west to the east and many places in between. You know, I might be expecting more of this current era of AI than most. As a longtime AI warrior, I think it's reasonable. Just like the cowboys of the Wild West, I feel the need to push the boundaries so that the frontier opens up for everyone. Right now, we're just selling sneakers and speakers in the wealthiest nations. That needs to change. Well, enough of me stumping on AI for now. I'll be revisiting this topic periodically given its immediate relevance to tech leaders. But be sure to subscribe to digitalcowboystudio.com so you don't miss any posts, podcasts, promotions, publications, or any other newness. Stay tuned for more conversations about the future of tech leadership. In the next episode, I'll be discussing something that you might not be see coming. I'll be joined by an expert career coach and discuss crafting a personal brand for tech leaders. Yep, you'll need allies on the untraveled road, and they need to know who you are and what you're all about. Too many tech leaders are invisible and therefore have little proactive impact, if any. Until next time, be pivotal.